Welcome to the I'm So Glad podcast. This is Dr. Allen, Director of Athletics, and I'm here with our head women's basketball coach, Candice Dupree.
How are you? Thank you for having me on the show. Super excited to see what questions you're going to throw my way.
Yeah. So, no, Coach, glad to have you on. So we'll start. Coach, you are the 13th head women's basketball coach at Tennessee State University. How does it feel?
It's an honor to come here and be able to be the head women's basketball coach of such a storied program. Working for an HBCU is definitely different, but it's been a great experience. Being around people that look like me more often than not.
Right. You definitely are around people that look like you, but no, we got a great group, and I know when I was recruiting you to be my head women's basketball coach, you talked about building and wanting to be at an HBCU to really build winning culture. You were aware of the storied tradition, but felt that you had experience to come lead this program. And so I want to start off by talking about your experience, right? So, and you're pretty modest, right? Low key, modest. Yeah. But I'm gonna celebrate your accomplishments. So, so if we look at it here, we talked about you being the 13th head women's basketball coach here, but WNBA legend, right? So you call it the W, but 6th leading scorer, played power forward, number 6 overall, first round pick to the Chicago Sky, right? First round pick in the history of that franchise.
Correct.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. Scoring records. You come out of Temple. You're a Temple Owl. You probably all conference there, right? Played with a lot of great players. Won a WNBA championship in 2014 with the Phoenix Mercury. Been a part of World Games, FIBA, travel all around the world. Talk about, just hearing all those accolades and hearing what you've done as a youngster and getting in the game of basketball. Did you ever feel that you would have that type of career?
Absolutely not. I don't know that I got serious about basketball until I was maybe a junior in high school. Played because I was good at it. Played all different sports, but once I got to high school, it was volleyball and basketball. Had the opportunity to redshirt to Tennessee and be a volunteer, but I wanted to play right away, and I knew that playing the game of basketball, I'd have more of a future than playing volleyball.
So you play volleyball. You mentioned to me that you used to play soccer at a young age. So a lot of
high
people don't
school
understand.
was like track and field, softball, volleyball, basketball, all of it.
Yeah. So you were a multi-sport athlete, and then the focus went to basketball. And so was there one particular, so you're out of Tampa, Florida. You're out of that area, a lot of great athletes in that area. Hot weather, so you're playing all at 365. But talk to me about what was it about the orange ball that bounced and goes into the nets that stuck out amongst the other sports? Was it a particular coach in your youth career
I was
that you gravitated?
Really good at it. I played AAU. So prior to moving to Tampa, I lived in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Played travel ball there. Moved to Tampa at that time, 7th grade. They had just taken it out of schools because they didn't have funding, so there were no sports in schools. Played for YMCA League. My mom found an AAU team that kind of plucked the top players from the entire state of Florida. I played.
When you say plucked, stood outside the house waiting for you to come out the gym.
Lived in Miami, and she came up, and Sandora Irvin was from a different part of Florida, and then we had kids from Bradenton, Tampa, all over the state.
Now talk about that. So my daughter got me into grassroots basketball, and I had a little group called the Tennessee Rain. Really, really good group. But you have, when you're playing in the summer, and so now you got the EYBL, you got the Under Armour, the UAA, the Under Armour Rise, and you go to Run for the Roses, and you've been to these gyms now as a head coach and recruiting these tournaments. Talk about these teams that, when you're trying to play on a national stage in the summer, you got to assemble a talented group. So you might be pulling from different states.
The more talented the players are, the more eyes you get watching your game.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when you're on the team that you were on, you had probably, 6 or 7 of the players you played with, you're saying were from other teams.
Yes,
how did you all practice?
D1
Everybody just practice over the weekend?
We would,
kind of
we
vibe?
practice in Lakeland.
Wow.
And so that was a
Lakeland,
45-minute,
Florida.
45-minute drive for me in Tampa.
Right.
And, like either on the weekends or like a Friday night. Sometimes we'd just link up at tournaments.
In the gym.
Yeah.
Wow. That's dope. And you still y'all talk about that, I know.
With certain players. I mean, it's so crazy to see how far, like, some of them a couple of them made it to the W. Obviously, Sylvia had
she's Hall of Fame type player. Yeah.
So some ended up at, like, University of Florida, like SEC programs, like top Power 5 programs.
Yeah, that's real strong. Wow. Well, and so now, as you go into these gyms as a head coach and you got the TSU brand, when you're recruiting on the grassroots circuit, what are you looking for in a player? Because I know you're very particular, right, in terms of the player that you want in your program. What are you looking for?
Right now, I think the most important thing for me is we need size, and we need a point guard moving forward. We've already got a couple shooters that are here with us for this season, but we absolutely. So I'm looking at, like, I want big guards. Like, everybody wants big guards these days.
Yeah.
So when I was out this past summer,
why is it? I'm gonna cut you off. So big guards in the women's game, is it because they, getting downhill, the strength factor, getting to the paint and being able to create?
I think it's a little bit of all of it. Like, if you can find, like, the ultimate player to me is you find, like, a 6'2", 3 that can post up mismatches, that can get downhill, that you can drive, kick, they can knock it down. I mean, I feel like that's what coaches are
looking for.
And that's just the way that basketball is moving.
It's
like,
evolved,
you look at, like, Delaney Deladon, Brianna Stewart, like, they're all, like, 6'4". Guards. 3-4s.
Yeah. No, you're right. I'm looking at the game, and you make a good point. Coming off ball screens and being able to, handle the ball in certain situations out of doubles. The ladies that are having success are those multifaceted, bigger guards. Kind of like maybe you were.
Somewhat,
right? You put it on the floor.
Shoot, I had to play the 5 in college, play the 4 once I got to the pros. Eventually had to learn how to put the ball on the floor, like attack from that trail position on the floor, pick and pop, somebody closes out, got to be able to get to the rim, like things like that. And that's what I preach to the group that I have. Like, you don't have to be one-dimensional.
Yeah.
Like, we're building out other parts of your game. And some of them get pretty hesitant. And
right.
We're going to work on it. You're asking me for workouts, we'll work on it. But then I need you to implement it in practice, which will then translate to the games.
Yeah. Don't just compartmentalize it. I need to see it on the floor. And so as you're talking to the ladies on our team now, and you're getting them accustomed to the pace and accustomed to the regimen, right, and the work ethic and all those values that made you great, my question is, are they embracing that?
They are.
Because
I would say they are.
All right. I love to hear that as the AD, right? Yeah. But just understanding that commitment, would you say that's the difference between, mid-major, high major, taking the next step professionally?
I think so. The commitment and also the discipline to want to put in the work and to utilize all of the things that you are working on. Like, those are huge pieces. And I think a huge part of it is the mental aspect.
Right.
So they have the skill, they can do it, but do they themselves know? And so they struggle with that part of it. Like, shying away. Well, some will say, if I miss the first 2 shots, I'm not shooting anymore.
Right.
But you're a shooter, right?
Yeah.
So shoot the ball.
Yeah.
Like, so
Michael
that's the
Jordan,
stuff.
I think I've always seen that quote.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't
that you
take.
don't
or something
take.
Like that. Yeah.
It's a real life.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. And so, but then too, as a head coach, and you've had multiple roles as a coach, as a player development coach, and we'll talk about that. But some coaches don't understand how important it is to continue to build that confidence level up in an athlete,
Yep.
so they will be, they won't be reluctant to fail.
Yeah.
Right. I think
Yeah.
that's a huge part of a head coach or anybody in the coaching profession is learning your athletes, learning that confidence in between the ears is everything.
Sure.
Because there's going to be moments where people are, the athlete's going to doubt themselves,
Yeah,
right? But if they know you got their back, right, I think it'll take them a long way. Would you say?
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think an important piece of that is the trust component.
Yeah.
Like they don't know me. Well, they know me now, but initially
Right.
I don't know them. They don't know me. So it's like, okay, I hear you say this, but why would I trust that? Why would I? And so you're building relationships with them and spending time with them in the gym and let's work on this. Let's work on this. How does this correlate to what we're doing in our offensive sets, our schemes? Like, here's the why behind it. Here's why I need you to be able to shoot. From
Not just telling them to do something. Explain it. How's it all come together?
And then them trusting that I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And that it works. Like when you implement it, it works.
Right. Your way. And so I know is that something you learned from playing for the great Don Staley at Temple, or is it?
Yeah. I mean, I've always been extremely coachable. I've always been a sponge. Whether it was Coach Staley or the assistant coaches that were on staff at the time, and then all the way through my professional playing career, did I question coaches? Absolutely.
At times, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I did too.
Doesn't make sense. Why would we do this? Stuff like that. But, she built I want to say the beginning of my senior year, I would have to play one-on-one against against our male assistant coach. You can't leave until you score 3 times on him. And you're talking about a guy that played college ball at Michigan. Like, he wasn't some guy that couldn't play.
You had to figure it out.
Prepare me for that. Okay, build up your confidence. It's not going to be easy. You can quit and be in here forever, or go get these 3 buckets.
Go get the buckets.
Go take a shower and go to class.
Right. So I know Coach Summit, and I spent time at Tennessee as a student athlete and as a professional in the industry, and so when I was there as a student athlete, when Coach Summit was living, she really introduced. I was in school with all the Meeks, Shamika and Hoslaw and Tamika Catchings, but she really introduced the men being able to compete against the ladies in practice. Do you feel that? And a lot of programs now do it.
Yeah.
We do it here. What about that has helped the women's game? On a collegiate level, do you feel?
I mean,
men
are obviously
the strength factor,
right? Like the guys that we have are more athletic. They're stronger. They're probably going to be taller. And so if you can compete against them, chances are you can compete against anybody in our conference or most of the teams that we play.
No, that's fair.
Being able to slow down their speed and their quickness, like it's rare that the female's going to be just as fast or jump just as high. Like, it just is what it is. That's our
genetic makeup. True.
Right. And so it's helped us. Like, this past week, we've had more practice guys than we've had to start out the season, and it's helped us tremendously.
Yes.
They've kicked our butt, but it's also let the players know, like this is what it looks like.
Yeah, because you're just trying to create pressurized heat. He trying to create heat. Yeah.
You don't slow down the ball, that's what it looks like.
That's what's going to happen.
It is what it is.
Right. So let me ask you this. So you're a power forward, but you had skills like a guard, highly efficient. And I kind of would say your game to me would be on the men's side, you're a legendary player, but on the men's side, Tim
Mm-hmm.
Duncan, because of your ability to, your footwork around the low block,
Fundamentals.
fundamentals.
Always fundamentally
That's
sound.
always what you relied on.
Not flashy,
Uh-huh.
not overly athletic.
Right.
But I was consistent, fundamentally sound, composed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's some of the stuff, like I get everybody's game is different, but that's like I tell the play, like you don't always have to move at 100 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Pace.
slow it down, read what the defense, like you're missing things. You're so busy to go set a stagger screen when you could slip to the rim.
Come on
you're
now.
wide open, like little things like
Make
that.
the game easier by reading it.
Seeing it instead of just always being on train tracks and moving super fast and I got to get here and I got to set this screen and I got to come off it, like slow down, take a deep breath.
Mm-hmm. No, just being able to read and react. I think, and my son, he, they love all the handles and the in and out dribble and the cross game, but you're on the floor. There's only 20 some odd seconds to get a bucket.
How many players actually use, unless you are Kyrie, at times Steph Curry,
right?
Who's dribbling the ball like
taking the air out of that ball, man.
Yeah.
The ball's got to move. It's got to switch sides of the floor, right? And so these young players, I love it here that they have someone at a high level like yourself that are telling them or giving them the why to that part of the game because of flow and pace and some of those things. And that's one of the reasons why I hired you, because you have that knowledge, and knowledge is power, and the more you have it on a campus, man, it's just better for our student athletes. But I was interested to know, the way you approach the game was really efficiency, and so. As you're recruiting, you're looking for players like that. And then you always going to have this special player to put around someone that's highly efficient. Yeah. So on your championship team, you hear Brittany Griner and Diana. But talk to me about, that team, what made that year special. And that was a grind.
I think even to this day, we still had the best record in league history. I want to say we lost 4 games that year.
Man, so you're probably like 26-4 or something like that. Yeah.
Extremely talented team.
Mm-hmm.
But we bought in, like the coach, it was her first year. Sandy Brondell was her first year in Phoenix. The buy-in was insane. Like the amount that we all sacrificed as individuals for the good of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had never seen anything like that. And we would have games where it'd be like Diana would have 20, I might have 17, BG at like 19, Penny Taylor like 17. Like it was insane.
Crazy.
The amount of all-stars that we had on that team.
That's crazy.
Was
the
wild.
buy-in was important because on championship teams, which you've been a part of a lot, I have as well, it's hard to find that chemistry around a common goal on a team that has so many all-stars, so many Hall of Fame players.
So many players that could be like, well, why is she getting more shots than me? Or why, like, and we all, like, set our egos to the side and just went out and beat the brakes off of people.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
That's crazy.
It was crazy.
No, but the build up to that team, it wasn't always like that, right? And so right now with our program, are those some of the things that you talk about, the process of?
For sure.
Okay.
And some of that is obviously getting the bodies in here that I want to get in here. But in trying to start to build that culture now, because we do have 6 freshmen.
Okay.
And maybe all 6 will stay. Maybe some might go to the portal.
With the portal,
but
right?
I have to start implementing that stuff now. Just building a winning culture. Will it happen year 1? Probably not, but you never know. It took us, 4 years? I had been in Phoenix 4 years before we won a championship. Got there in 2010.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 years. With relatively the same group of players.
Got it.
Swapped out a couple role players on the roster, but same group of players. And so it doesn't happen overnight. Like it's the discipline, the hard work, the consistency, not only in season, but like in the summers. That's where you get most of your work in, is in the summers, and where most of your growth comes into play.
But that core, that nucleus is important. And so, like, when you were in Phoenix, you're working around what, like, you know, the waivers and the trades and the acquisitions. And if you really think about college sports right now, you kind of got that going on to a degree with the portal and the dollars that are around these young people. And they're looking on social media and finding other places that they can, you know, get compensated. Because of their talent, because of their name, image, and likeness. And so being able to manage that, I believe inside you were trying to make sure that you have a core. So whatever happens, I think, and a philosophy, right?
For sure. And I think one of the things, at least right now, like we have no NIL money for you right now. Like if you're coming here, it's because you love the game and you want to play and you want to continue your career past high school.
So that's it.
And then if I can get you some extra stuff along the way, like.
Cost of attendance, Austin money. But do you feel it's important for someone in your role just to be candid, upfront, transparent? This is what it is. Playing for me here at TSU. This is what we can provide, and then let it be. I love that.
They make their decision, and whatever happens, happens. But I'm not gonna try and sell recruits on stuff that I can't.
That you can't deliver on.
This is what it is.
Yeah. So what it is here, you know, it's a great. We just come off a homecoming. Your first HBCU homecoming. That family atmosphere. You know, a lot of alums were back. A lot of our stakeholders. It was a great vibe at Hale Stadium for the pep rally. Then you had an opportunity to go to your first HBCU homecoming football game, which we had a great showing by Coach George and the fellas. How was it?
It was good. It was an experience of being out there at the pep rally and just, you know, listening to the band, seeing all the alumni out there, like the tent set up. You know, people selling stuff. I wish I had the opportunity to spend more time at the tailgate part of it, the day of the game, but we had, you know, recruits in town and but it was cool to just soak up the
2
atmosphere.
recruits, right? Yeah, that's cool.
And be in that environment, be on the field before the game, watching the players get ready. Like, all of that was pretty cool.
It's good, up close and personal with it. So you talked about the vendors, and so we at homecoming, entrepreneurship is at the all-time high. You got people selling it. Now, fashion and apparel in your career. You probably were one of the most swaggiest, dripped out players. Low key.
I kept it low key.
It was low key? Okay.
Yeah,
but it was always smooth.
Not
too much, but no. You look at some of these brands now when you have a lot of women representing, a lot of ladies representing New Balance and Under Armour and Nike now, and we can go on and on. Are you happy? Is it gratifying because you came through an era where there weren't that many endorsement deals in the game? Are you happy to see that kind of break open now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, most of us, when I played, we all had to go overseas to make
real
money.
Bread, right?
Like, and the WNBA was just secondary, and it gave us an opportunity to play in front of our families here in the States. But now, like, the branding opportunities, the endorsement deals, like the amount of women's basketball players that you see in commercials, CarMax, State Farm, like Under Armour, like all of them, Gatorade. It's pretty incredible. And I think
good to see.
It helps in them not having to go across the waters to make money. Like, they get to stay here and work on their game because, you know, when I was playing, you were playing all year round.
It was lonely over there. And how many countries did you play in? There's no telling. Your passport comes.
Oh yeah, I had CDs. I got a couple of them. Yeah.
What was the best, the country that you enjoyed the most out of your tour?
Either Hungary or the Czech Republic. Because Czech Republic, I played in Prague.
Okay.
It's obviously a major city over there.
Oh, wow.
And then in Hungary, I was like 45 minutes from Vienna, but like an hour and a half from Budapest.
From Budapest?
Two great cities.
Big time cities.
So
The
probably
culture
those
and
two
everything, the
places.
food,
Yep,
good
shopping, all of
shopping.
it. If you want to go
Yeah.
skiing, snowboarding, they got a river, like the river. If you want to get on a boat, like
Yeah,
so, those two, probably by far the best.
the best. Yeah,
Yeah.
people. I spent some time in NFL Europe, and I was in Amsterdam. Had an opportunity to go to Scotland and Barcelona, Dusseldorf. But I always tell my wife the shopping and the trends.
insane over there.
The trends start over there from a
Yeah.
fashion standpoint 5 years before they get to the States, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see that dynamic. So let's switch gears. Let's talk about. Let's go back to personal life. So you come up in a household. You got your mom. You twins running your family. We'll get to that
Correct.
with your twins,
Correct.
with Demi and Callie. We'll talk. But your twin sister, another sister. So you were the only baller.
I was.
Okay.
I am. My mom was in the Air Force, which is how we ended up, jumping from a couple different states, countries, whatever. But
Yeah.
like my twin
Because you're born in
sister-
Oklahoma City.
Yeah, born in Oklahoma. Lived there
Yeah.
for a year, moved to Germany, lived there for 4, then Cheyenne, and
Yeah.
then Tampa.
Okay.
Twin sister was all about like beauty pageants and all that kind of stuff. My younger sister played ball like really, really young. Just wasn't her thing.
Yeah.
She likes the hair and the makeup.
Yeah. But
and
now,
all that
I mean,
stuff.
but though different, you all are just
we're super
close.
now. Yeah.
It's so dope. I mean, I remember you showed me some pictures like when you were inducted to the Hall of Fame in Temple. They, everybody was there,
Yeah.
and that fabric, has that always been true?
It's-
just
Yes and no.
ingrained?
We've gotten so I say no because like I left and went to college up in Philly. My twin sister went to college in Orlando, and then my younger sister's 5 years younger than us. So there were some years where we were all just kind of doing our own thing. Like
Spread
we'd
out.
talk on the phone a little bit. But then as like my sister had a kid, so my nephew's 14. My other sister has a 3-year-old. I have mine. Like our kids have kind of brought all of us closer. I've always been super close to my mom. And yeah, like now
Mom
I
was a
can't, when they
rock.
come
Yeah,
visit, I
yeah.
can't get rid of them. Like, I gotta go.
Get out.
So we're,
Yeah.
super close now as
so
we've gotten
so
older.
they've been to Nashville.
Yes, my mom
they
for
love
sure,
it?
and my younger sister. My twin sister hasn't
And
been. yet.
been.
Yeah, my nephew, my niece, they've been.
They've been.
They like it a lot. My girls are
Yeah.
always like, "Can they move here? I want Nana to move
Nana,
here." And I'm like,
yeah.
"She got her
I had a
own
Nana.
life going on."
Nana
in
got it
Florida."
all figured out back
Yep.
at the crib.
Yeah.
No,
It's been good.
but
though.
but your daughter, so 7
Seven.
years old,
Yep, second
7
grade.
years, second grade.
They come in here
figuring
and
out
run
life.
around
I've
all
seen
over
them
the
around.
place.
They've been running around,
Up and down the
embraced by the
elevator. Yep.
team. I see Lady
Yep.
Comfort, your assistant coach and treasurer. They Hunt, which was a phenomenal player in college. They've kind of gravitated to the girls,
Yeah,
but
they got their own little workstation up there, snacks, all of it.
right.
Yeah.
TV programs. But so Demi and Callie, I know, as a parent, like that's your joy, man. Like we talk, that's your heart. And so, I know you got some art here. So you got some stuff that, it's really, really special
Yes.
to the young ladies. But they love Nashville, which is really gratifying to me because I remember we were going through the recruiting process and talking about the job and impact, and that was one of the things that you wanted to make sure that your kids were in a city where they could grow, develop, that they enjoyed, a city that embraced them and accepted them and brought them in. And so, has that been done?
It's
Check.
been great.
Okay.
Like I needed the
Cool.
diversity component. I needed good schools, all of that,
Yeah.
and I've found all of that here.
In Nashville,
Yeah.
in Roar
Yeah,
City,
it's
sneaky,
been
right?
Great.
Yeah,
So
that's cool.
they love it.
Yeah, so kind of in here, I mean, it's called the I'm So Glad podcast, right? And so I'm so glad, and it's a theme, right? And our band plays I'm so glad I go to TSU, but what I'm glad of is that, I've been able to, represent Tennessee State University as an AD for 4 years now, and a lot of history of my family's here. My grandfathers, my wife, my brother. I'm a grad here on the graduate side. But what I'm glad of is that, you know, we we continue to push the envelope on making sure that we provide talent, and that's head coaches around our young people from a student athlete perspective that will pour into them and help them be the best versions of themselves. And you're one of those coaches in that lineup. So as an AD, I'm glad that I have you as our head women's basketball coach leading those efforts because, as you know, as you sit here, you've coached with Coach Pop, right? Um, you know, you've played for the great Don Staley, and you've been around so many high-level athletes that you understand the importance of the shoestrings and the sneakers will go up one day.
Yep.
And when that happens, you got to transition to the next phase of your career. And so talk to me about how important that is for you as a head coach to really hammer that message home.
It's it's huge. That was one of the things I think that you and I discussed, and like I tell it to parents and recruits and the players, like this playing doesn't last forever, and
Yep.
so the transition is real. And how can I help them as people first with their life after playing? And so, you know, the networking, the community service, like that component, building relationships
Yep.
with people here at the university and in the city of Nashville, and just knowing what all of that,
Meaningful relationships that
correct,
can go beyond.
yes, and what all that looks like for them 4 or 5 years from now.
Yeah, you're right.
That's a huge thing for me. Like the
Yeah.
basketball is extremely important, absolutely. Like put together a winning team, but how can I help these people grow outside of that?
And expand as a
Correct.
person.
Yep.
Yep. And so, which that's some of the work you did under Coach Popovich with the San Antonio Spurs. You had the rookies. You know, you were developing those individuals, but then you like Victor Wembanyama. How do you say that last?
Wembanyama.
Wembanyama. The guy from France
Yeah.
who had a great Olympics, right?
Yeah.
He took some stuff that you gave him in his tool bag and tried to go at LeBron and the guys, but didn't get it done, right?
Correct.
Because we kind of run
Yeah.
basketball, right?
Yeah.
Okay, women and men, right? But that experience, how rewarding was it to be on that staff with a Hall of Fame coach and Coach Pop and learning the NBA game and then being able to kind of bring that insight here.
That experience was amazing. I think my biggest takeaway from that were the meaningful relationships that I built with the players.
Yeah.
Because at that level, with the amount of money that you're dealing with, a lot of people just look at the players as assets and
Wow.
not as people.
That's a good point.
And so for me, like I struggle with the part of they're not just assets. And so I made a point to like sit and talk with them after practice in the gym. Like it could be about nothing. It could be about basketball. It could be about real life stuff.
Yeah, what's going on today? Like,
Yeah, like
just trying
just
to
sit
dive
and
in.
get to know them, which is what a lot of people at that level don't
Miss.
do.
Yeah.
They either they're an asset or they want something from them. For
Wow.
me, like we could sit, chill, hang, call it a day.
Yeah.
So that was the relationship, the meaningful relationship.
Building those relationships,
took
being that
away.
sounding board.
Correct.
Yeah. Being CD.
Taking care of other people.
Yeah.
Whether it was like the video guys, like the people that were the lowest on the totem pole. Like I'd walk in the video room and there's 6 of them, and we all just about wore the same size shoe. Here, you want these Kobe's? Take them. Like even like little things like that. It'd be like, dang, CD, like thank you so much for taking care of us. Like that's what I'm here for. I'm not here for the money. I'm trying to take care of others, build meaningful relationships, and know that when they leave me, they're better in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, you look at, people like, what's 5 years look like? What does it look like for you in this role and your program that you're building? What would you say?
Ideally, win sooner than later. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess every coach would probably say that. I love Nashville. Stability for my girls is a huge piece to that, like being here for 2 and then packing up. I just throw 2 out there, and packing up and leaving, and they have to go to a new state, a new house, a new school. Like, those are things that I'm not interested in doing at this point in my life.
Career.
I did enough of that.
You did
playing.
a lot. Yeah. Come.
And so I think it's more like stability for me and building and helping to build this program and, you know, put TSU women's basketball on the map. And if I can stay here long term, I would absolutely love to do that.
Wow. Well, no, that's special. And, you know, I know you've immersed yourself in the culture, and our stakeholders and donors have been very pleased with what you've done in a short amount of time, and you've been very appreciative of the role and embraced it. So shout out to you, CD. And, you know, as we conclude the I'm So Glad podcast, everybody support our women's basketball team. Come to the arena, fill up the Gentry. The season is right around the corner. We actually tonight, we got the Big Blue Madness, right? So we'll be right here. We're center court now, CD, but
we are.
Tonight we'll have the students, our student body. They're on fall break, but a lot of them are coming back to this event, and we're gonna have a good time, really celebrating the game of basketball, which has meant so much in your life, right? And took you around the world and got you right here at Tennessee State, as I know you're glad to be the women's basketball coach. And good luck to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Coach. Go Big Blue.